Good afternoon and welcome to A Closer Look. My name is Gail Tatum. I have two people with me today who are going to be talking about the Merck Science partnership that we have, which is very exciting and something that we've been wanting to share with the community for a long time. Carol Stearns is here from the Merck Institute for Science Education. She is the coordinator of education programs. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Gail.
And Donna Brown is with me as well, and Donna is the supervisor of science for the North Penn School District. So thank you both. We have a lot to learn in this community about this partnership. Carol, I'd like to start with you. First of all, tell us a little bit what the Merck Institute for Science Education is and why Merck seemed to want to begin this wonderful effort.
Well, the Merck Institute for Science Education is a not-for-profit established by Merck and Company, Inc. A while ago under the leadership of its then CEO, Dr. Roy Vagelos.
Okay.
The focus of the Institute has been K-8 science education in 4 districts, 3 in New Jersey, Rahway, Linden, and Reddington, and of course the North Penn School District here in Pennsylvania. All of these districts are adjacent to major Merck facilities, so Merck has had a long-standing interest in them. Our work has been with the districts, with teachers, principals, administrators, trying to provide a focused effort that will improve and sustain higher quality K-8 science, mathematics, and technology programs. And of course, what we're hoping for long term is to see wonderful changes in the values that young people have about science, their attitudes about science. And we hope, of course, that part of that will come from training teachers and responding to the district with better materials and good ideas.
It's a wonderful effort. I know that you can't, you weren't there, I'm sure, when all of this was the brainchild of somebody who had enough foresight to want to do this kind of effort in the public schools. But it seems to me it's a very creative and innovative way, but yet very practical way of really bringing change about in education.
It's very practical, and I think the first brilliant thing that Merck and Company, Inc. did was to hire Carlo Paravano to lead this effort with his background in science, specifically in chemistry, and his experience with staff development programs in science. He was just an ideal person, and I think Merck wanted someone leading this effort who knew the science, who'd worked with teachers, and he really is the inspiration, the vision behind a lot of our programs.
I agree. Carlo is an impressive man, and he brings a nice, easy skill to his leadership, which gives it a nice feeling and an easy partnership, I think, which is nice. I know that you have seen, as a science supervisor, impact in lots of ways, and this we're now in our, you said 2.5 years we've been in the partnership with Merck.
So this is officially our 3rd year.
And have you been, Donna, you've been with us how long?
This is my 3rd year.
This is your 3rd year, so it really began. You
coincides.
coincided, so you've really been here almost for the whole part of it. I know that it's an effort that you're involved with on an ongoing basis. Can you tell me a little bit in general terms about how the partnership works and what this means for you?
The most direct impact of the partnership is obviously on the students in the classroom, and we see it every day. This is an effort with the cooperation of MISE and the direction of MISE that we are bringing about change not only in the way teachers teach, but in the way children learn. And that's really at its core. So we are providing them with lots of new materials for their own investigations of science, math, and technology, and really giving them a feel for what careers might be in these areas, at least having them consider those. And it's a wonderfully supportive effort that works well as a business and education partnership.
Yeah. I know that one of the hallmarks of your effort has been something that you call the Leader Teacher Institute. And I was lucky enough last summer to see some of our teachers working on this. I know this is my understanding is that it's a 3-year program. But can you explain a little bit what that means? Because I think that people would, there are parents whose children come home and explain that their teachers are part of this, and perhaps we can tell them a little bit more what that means.
Well, I think the wisdom about programs such as ours suggests that the key component in affecting change is to put a lot of effort into professional development of the teachers. They need to have a shared vision about what it means to teach science and mathematics and technology using an inquiry-centered approach. They also need to have a lot of opportunity to share ideas and live through the same experiences that their students are going to be living through in the classroom. When we first started to consider this, we looked around for the best way to provide this kind of training, these experiences to teachers in our partner districts. And with, I think, an incredible burst of self-confidence, decided that we ought to do it ourselves. So the Leader Teacher Institute was developed to train a group of 150 leader teachers from the 4 districts in not only the content, but also the pedagogy that we are endorsing, namely inquiry-centered instruction.
But can I interrupt you and ask you to explain that a little bit, because that's language that I know you're very comfortable with and I understand, but inquiry-based means asking a lot of questions as you go along and training teachers to do that and have their students do that?
Well, I think it is putting the focus away from the teacher as a giver of knowledge and to the student as a constructor of knowledge. The student brings a great deal of experience to all of science. Children are born curious, they're excited about the natural world. When they bring these understandings to the classroom, when they bring their questions forward, they have a way of approaching materials and ideas that allows them to construct their own understanding of science.
So a student who had an interest, or a teacher who was trying to teach a subject, something in science, would help the student to, allow the student to ask questions about, I wonder how this works, or I wonder what would happen if, and then with hands-on application, some of these questions would be answered. Is that a simplified way of saying
that's a simplified way of looking at it, and it's also a very complex way of putting it, because that, in a nutshell, is what has to happen. The best case scenario is one in which the student brings an experience to the classroom, and that's the starting point. It snowed outside, and these snowflakes have marvelous patterns, and not only that, but when they land on my tongue or my hand, they seem to melt. And this is the beginning of wonder. Why? What makes it snow? Where does all this come from? And so one has within a child's curiosity the seeds of a marvelous science lesson. Now, the teacher can respond to this with what we would sarcastically refer to as an info dump. Here is the answer to your question. That's not what we're promoting. We're promoting a teacher standing at the side of the room and coaching children through a series of investigations in which they begin to combine their curiosity, their observational experiences, measurements that they can make, and out of all of this, synthesize an understanding of the world.
Yeah, that's very exciting. It's certainly different from what I remember as a child in terms of being taught certain things in science. It's much more involving. Do you hear things about this from your teachers?
We hear things from the teachers. We hear it from parents. We go into a school, and when parents are present, even at another event, we hear them talking about what their children are bringing home, because this is an exciting time to be a learner. And this is really part of what teachers experienced, including myself, at the Leader Teacher Institute. You see things through new eyes, and you become part of the process.
I know that we have a teacher, Gay Salen, who's a teacher at Gwynedd Square Elementary School. We'd like to share some information that we have directly from Gay about this, and let you hear from her firsthand what she's seeing in her classroom and what she has learned from the Leader Teacher program.
It was a very exciting summer. We got together, many of the teachers from the district, and we met at Gwynedd Mercy College for the real purpose of gaining scientific knowledge as an adult learner. It was not a course in methods per se, but it was gaining the knowledge that we could apply later on. Material was presented through inquiry-centered instruction. We learned about rocks and minerals and fossils, and then we had to demonstrate our knowledge in a variety of ways. We had to construct, we had to make models of things. And as we were doing it, we could definitely see a correlation between how we were learning and how we could take that back to the children. After we learned fossils, we went on a trip to the Poconos where we actually climbed along the cliffs and were able to get fossils that were like millions of years old. I mean, it was really, really exciting. We also studied about the moon, and the way we started learning about the moon was by creating moon journals where we had to go out every night and draw pictures or write things. And as we did that, we gradually were realizing we were learning an awful lot without any teacher direction at all. And then we supplemented, of course, with some information. Models were used. We had to create models to show something. We made craters out of flour and cocoa, and we had to decide if the height at which something was dropped would affect the size of the crater. And here you saw all these teachers. We were really, so enthused about it. It was a lot of fun. They brought math and technology into all of our learning. We had computers that were available to us. We had to compute scientific formulas. We worked in groups a lot. We had experiments where they even had thermometers hooked up to a computer where you could test the temperature. And just listening to the teachers was really, we were like kids. We were, oh my God, look at that happening. I mean, it was so exciting, and we could understand the enthusiasm that the children feel when they're involved in that. There was also an assessment element of it where we were given information about different types of assessments. The trend being to get away from the test-taking assessment. We were made aware of many different types of techniques, of rubrics, which is being widely used in the state and in other areas. We're asked to construct them, and we really had a focus. We were forced to think about things that we maybe had not thought about before. This assessment element, it's been ongoing, and they have a group that meets every month, which I'm a part of, and it's headed by a man from the Educational Testing Center in Princeton, and we're going to meet for 3 years, and at the end of the 3 years, draw some kinds of conclusions and see if there really has been any learning that took place over it. One of the nicest features was the teachers were each allotted funds. We were allowed to order materials for our classrooms, and just to have the freedom to sit down with the catalogs and order things that we could use in the classroom was wonderful, because so often teachers really want to use hands-on science, but we're limited by the equipment, or you have to run around and gather the equipment, and it's been very, very difficult, but now it's wonderful. If I want certain equipment, all I have to do is call up Donna Brown or through the Merck, and I can get the equipment here. And right then and there, it takes a lot of the hassle and the stress out of it. Another wonderful element that of this program is we've been given release days through the year to explore our professional development. Throughout the year, many of the teachers have gotten together as a grade level, and we've talked about ways, and we've kind of tried to modify the curriculum to make it more inquiry-based. Yesterday, it was really exciting. I got to visit a school, a classroom that was taught by one of the teachers from the Institute, and it was a little school in the middle of New Jersey. And it was fascinating watching how this teacher was able to, really apply the inquiry-based method. She was teaching science and social studies. Her school was unique in that the teacher created her own science curriculum, and she was able to create it with using this inquiry-based method, and they just planted a butterfly garden, and there were tadpoles all around, and it was exciting to see the other children, how the children were learning. And basically, that's kind of where it's taken us throughout the year. I felt very fortunate to be a part of this program because I'm with teachers from the district. You don't often get to see other teachers teach and in action, and I saw this yesterday, and throughout the summer, I'm really proud to be a teacher, in the district. There are so many really wonderful teachers. I mean, it really is true. Seeing them and hearing them and watching us, the different, projects that we did, it's really very encouraging, and it makes me very proud, to be a professional. And it also makes me proud that the educational process is really valued, not just teaching children rote facts, and that they're taking us serious, that North Penn and Merck, that they think it's worth, that education and that helping the teachers to be better teachers is really worth it. And it's just a wonderful experience. I'm really looking forward to this summer again. I don't know what strand I'm going to be in. It's very intense. I mean, we walked away from that each day with pounding headaches. I mean, you're bombarded with so much knowledge, and it's been a long, it's very easy for us to be the ones that are teaching and imparting knowledge, but to be the student and to have to be forced into this situation and to be constantly questioned, real learning does take place and real thinking does take place, and it's just been great.
That was very interesting to hear what Gay Salen and her students had to say about the impact of science in their classroom. Certainly this is an easy way to see how this, this is, you just look at the children's faces and you can see the impact of what's going on. And this is something you see at lots of places.
You see it every day.
Every day in every way you see more. I understand there's something new afoot. We have something new called the Peer Teacher Workshop, and this is going to allow more teachers to be involved in what we're doing. Is that right?
Well, I'm delighted to say that after the Leader Teacher Institute experienced its first summer, we had a number of teachers saying, I want to play too.
Me too.
We were absolutely thrilled to hear that. We were looking for a way to develop a second tier of programs. Remember now that the Leader Teacher Institute is a 3-year commitment, 3 weeks each summer and a number of school year components. So it's really a very serious commitment on the part of teachers that we hope will be the future leaders in this initiative in your district.
Let me interrupt you just to clarify one point on that, because I did want to do that earlier. The leader teacher then is someone in that school. There are several in some schools who takes a leadership role, hopefully with other faculty members. Is that the intent?
Mm-hmm. That's exactly the intent.
Okay.
The teachers, the leader teachers came to us in teams, generally of 4 per building. They've worked together, they have team goals. A lot of them are already beginning to reach out to their colleagues in a number of activities. And we hope that as they become more comfortable, they will do this more and more and more.
Yeah.
But in any event, there are more people out there.
We have another program.
Exactly.
We have so many leader teachers, but there are more who want to learn and be part of this. So.
Well, we hope that all of them will want to be part of this ultimately, and we certainly intend to provide opportunities for all of them. The peer teacher workshops will be week-long workshops here in the district, and they are more directed toward immediate transfer from some deep science and pedagogy background to the actual curriculum in North Penn classrooms. So we will be breaking these workshops into clusters. One will be directed toward K to 3 teachers, another 3 to 6 teachers, another 6 to 8 teachers.
All right.
In the week-long peer teacher workshop, we will tie the content, the instruction, to actual units that are being taught in your schools right now.
Our actual North Penn curriculum.
Exactly.
Okay.
Whether it's the materials that are used at a certain grade level or a major topic that's being covered at the middle school, but we are going to have a much stronger, much more direct connection between our workshop content and your classroom practice.
Now, someone who participates in this, someone who becomes part of the peer teacher workshop, makes how long a commitment to this effort?
The peer teacher workshop is a single week-long commitment,
All right.
but we are certainly hoping that people will sign up for multiple peer teacher workshops, and it is our goal over the next 5 years to have a very rich menu of possible topics.
All right.
We will look for topics that overlap the main content areas that you cover in science and mathematics and technology.
So teachers who are interested in being part of this, and parents who will find that their children's teachers are involved in this, will have the opportunity, thanks to the Merck Institute for Science Education, to attend week-long seminars, week-long workshops where they'll get hands-on kinds of work, I assume.
Absolutely.
Lots of hands-on.
Absolutely,
all right.
inquiry-centered.
As well as some
Yes.
theory and background and educational pieces that will link with our existing curriculum.
Exactly.
Is that right? That's wonderful.
And we're
this-
studying your curriculum, talking to Donna, talking to David Decker,
Okay.
trying to get a solid feeling for what areas of the curriculum they would like us to address, and of course that will go into our design plan.
Okay.
I also ought to mention that some of the instructional team members in this peer teacher workshop are teachers from your district. We've
Good.
invited some who were leader teachers last summer to join us on the instructional teams.
That's good. I know that the Leader Teacher Institute focused on mathematics as well as science, and
Yes.
people need to understand that. Will the peer workshops do that as well, or is that more? Yes, it will.
Absolutely, yes.
All right.
We actually don't see them as separable
No.
right now. I think that when you're doing a science experiment, you're doing it quantitatively, you're doing the same kind of problem solving that you would be doing in your mathematics class. And
Certainly.
technology, whether it's computer technology or design technology, is a natural component to both of these. We are trying to provide teachers with a seamless integration of the three.
That's nice. That's wonderful. And you see this happening.
Yes.
You see it happening all
Yes,
the all.
we do.
Now it's K. Did you say K through 8?
K through
so
8.
it's K through 8. Our middle schools next year, we will have 3 middle schools. So this will
Right.
be present in all 3 of our middle
Yes, it
schools.
will.
All right, and it's been at Brook and Field. I know they have
Yes.
some new lab areas at Penndale that will
Right.
be nice and
So it'll
probably
be nice to have
part
an
of this.
impact at Penndale
Yes,
as
it
well.
will be. That's
and
nice.
this will be a real help in linking with our secondary curriculum in the high school, because we will be providing the high school with, I think, a group of students over the years who will
Yes.
have some very different ways of learning
Yeah.
that will impact on their high school careers.
I'm sure it will be interesting to see, and I'm not sure how you'll measure this exactly, but you must have an interest in this with the time and effort you've put in. If you have students now who are beginning with this wonderful science opportunity at a young age and have this all the way through in 8 years, we should have some students who are really thinking differently and maybe approaching science in a new way, which is really what you're all about, isn't it?
That's exactly the goal of this. The focus of this entire initiative is children. It's providing a group of young people who will complete their schooling with a good feeling for what science is and the processes of science and the resources to use those science processes in making decisions about their lives and futures.
Not just science.
Not
Lots
just
of ways.
science.
Right.
It's a good way of training your thoughts and your thinking and applying all of that to your life.
And I
in-
think
in
it
a
shows,
sense.
too, there are a lot of even other facets to this initiative, from providing the resources, which is why we have a resource center
Yes.
currently at Penndale,
Yes, and tell
to
us a little
providing
about
a lot
that
of
in a minute.
community outreach with our science nights, which have become math, science, technology nights,
Yes.
in keeping with the spirit of the initiative. Yes, we do have a resource center. We've taken a couple of rooms that were classrooms, and in order to be as cost effective as possible, we make sure that every teacher has the needed supplies on a rotating basis. And in fact, it's like a lending library of science supplies.
That's wonderful.
And it's a wonderful way of making sure that everybody has access to the same materials.
So teachers who are planning something in a curricular piece can get the supplies that they need to do
Exactly.
it the way that they need to do it. Science nights are fun, and I have seen a couple of those, and I've read about them as well. And it's a way of getting parents involved, isn't it? And with their students at their home school.
Exactly. It's
And-
parents, children, teachers, grandparents, younger siblings. It really brings
All
a whole
this.
family atmosphere to science, math, and technology learning.
Yeah, and solving puzzles together
Exactly.
and finding solutions together and having a good time together. I think that's a real nice initiative that we have at North Penn, and I'm happy that Merck's involved with that too, because we really do believe that involving parents at every step is critical to the success of a child's education. We all believe that. Well, this is wonderful. I'm not sure what I'm missing that I need to tell you. Would you say if, you did say that, of course, the reason for all this is the impact on students, and that's what we're seeing. Do you have a message for parents?
Well, actually, I have one more piece that I would like to talk
right.
about because I think it's an important piece in North Penn. We have Merck volunteers who come into the schools and work with teachers and work with children, and I think that they are really extremely important in implementing this program. First of all, they're phenomenal role models. Second of all, I think they're resources to the teachers because sometimes they can answer questions and use materials and give a teacher that added bit of insight about a certain module. But I think also the fact that they work so well with children makes them very important. I would like to move into a time when you ask a young child to draw a picture of a scientist, that picture looks like somebody that everyone would want to sit down and talk to, and it doesn't look like someone from a weird magazine. So I think the fact that real, honest-to-goodness Merck volunteers, working scientists with a great way of relating to young people and to teachers are out there changing this mental image in the community means a lot to me.
Yes, I know. And I'm glad you raised that point because I know I think of Walton Farm particularly as having a very strong volunteer program.
Yes.
I know other schools do as well, but I know that they do have some people who have really had an impact there.
And when
it
they
is
come in as
wonderful.
volunteers, just as Carol says, you wouldn't necessarily know. I walked into a third grade classroom where a visitor was sitting in a third grade circle with the children, and she happened to be a Merck scientist who was telling the children about her research. And she was just like a neighbor.
Just somebody
and
that
it was
you know
wonderful.
down the street.
Exactly.
And, that's, of
And they
course, the
had
point.
lots and lots of questions.
This helps to remove some barriers that students might have in
It
their
does.
minds, isn't it? And
It does.
It's important that way, that you can be anything you want to be.
Yes,
And
exactly.
in fact, lots of people are doing wonderful things, and you can too, and we can show you how.
and I think as Donna just pointed out, some of these people who are doing wonderful things are females, so we definitely want to get the message across that science is for
for women, too.
everybody.
Everybody.
Everybody, right.
Yeah. I think that message is, don't you see that as a change already in student attitudes? I think that that's been happening in the last few years, and maybe we're making some progress on
That's
that.
good news.
I
You
think
know,
that
we're working very hard on that piece.
That's an important piece for all of us. I have two daughters who I certainly wanted to make sure that that message was clear with them. So, well, this is wonderful. I thank you for coming, and I think we've given people a sense of maybe a little bit more of what this valuable program is all about. It's a huge effort, and it's because of the skill of good people and the commitment of a company and the vision of people that this is working. It certainly is a partnership effort, and one that we need to work on and be part of, and that we are happy to join in. It's a great thing, and I guess this is exactly the kind of thing that we want to see more and more of in our community, way to help our schools grow, using the brain power of the best people that we have. So thank you for coming. Thank you both.
for having us.
Okay. It's been fun having these people with us today to learn about the Merck Institute for Science Education. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.
They've given our generation a label, X, Generation Nothing. They say we have no sense of purpose. They say we have no cause to believe in. Who are they? Join the thousands of us who are making a difference and wear a label that does mean something.
Billy wants to work on airplanes when he grows up. Maybe one that you fly in. Now, would you like this free booklet of simple ways you can help improve his education? Call 1-800-96-PROMISE.